to CHAISPEED Torah, the podcast where we go through the Parsha faster than your uncle goes through the Kiddush cake. I'm your host, and today we're diving back into Parsha Metzorah. Now, before anyone tunes out, I know, Metzorah, skin stuff, leprosy, not exactly the Parsha you're running to the base Midrash excited about. Nobody's sitting around at Shabbos going, "Oh, I can't wait to hear the Devar Torah about skin afflictions." But stick with me, because this Parsha is genuinely fascinating, a little gross, and honestly kind of hilarious if you think about it hard enough. Let's go. So, when we were in Parshas Tazria, we met our main character, the Metzorah, a person who has been afflicted with tzoras, which the Torah describes as a skin condition. But the rabbis tell us a really spiritual punishment, mostly for Lashon Hara, gossip, talking trash about people. So, essentially, this is what happens when your group chat goes too far. Now, the Metzorah has been declared impure, sent outside the city, living his best quarantine life. But now, it's time for him to come back, and there's a whole process. Step 1, the Kohen, the priest, shaves the Metzorah. And I don't mean a little trim, I mean all visible hair, every single hair with a razor. And here's the kicker. If the Kohen missed even 2 hairs, even accidentally, the entire shaving was invalid and had to be done again from scratch before they could move on. 2 hairs, that's it. 2 hairs and you're back to square one. Can you imagine being that Kohen? This guy is standing there with a razor going millimeter by millimeter over someone's entire body, knowing that if he misses even a tiny patch, like the back of the ankle or behind the ear, the whole thing is void. I get stressed when I miss a spot shaving my face. This guy had to get the whole person. No pressure, though. Okay, so after the shaving, the Metzorah immerses in a mikveh, a ritual bath, along with his garments. And you'd think, right, mikveh done, we're good, come back on to society, grab a falafel, you're good to go. Wrong! After the mikveh, he's allowed back into a walled city. And this is a huge but. He's still considered a primary source of uncleanliness. He's like a walking contamination zone. He cannot live with his wife. He cannot enter the Temple Mount. He cannot eat from the sacrifices. He's basically been let back into the city, but put on the social equivalent of probation. Yes, you may enter the city walls. No, you may not touch anyone or anything meaningful. Welcome home. Kind of. This is like getting paroled, but your ankle monitor covers basically everything fun in life. So, he counts 7 days. On the 7th day, guess what? More shaving! A second full shave by the Kohen. Then another mikveh. And then, on the 8th day, the real grand finale begins. The 8th day is all about korbanos, the offerings at the Beis HaMikdash. This is the final act of purification. After this, the Metzorah is fully back in, carrying member of society again. Now, the Torah, being very sensitive to economic realities, has 2 tracks here. A rich man's package deal and a poor man's package deal. The rich man's offering is a lamb as an asham, a female lamb as a chatas, another lamb as an olah, plus a minchas nesachim, which is a flour offering consisting of 3 esronim, that's about 15 pounds of flour, plus a log of oil. 15 pounds of flour, just in case you wanted to bake a cake while you were at it. The poor man's offering is 2 turtle doves, or pigeons, one as a chatas, one as an olah, plus an omer of flour, which is about 5 pounds, and a log of oil. Much more manageable. Same spiritual outcome, scaled to your budget. The Torah is basically saying, Hashem doesn't need you to go broke to come back into the community. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is my favorite part of the whole Parsha. A rich person cannot bring the poor man's offering. Even in most cases, if a wealthy person brings a pauper sacrifice for some other korban, it works. They've fulfilled their obligation. Not here. Not for the Metzorah. Why? Because one of the classic causes of Tzoros is miserliness, being a cheapskate. And if a rich Metzorah shows up to the temple going, "Oh, I'll just bring the turtle doves, same thing, right? Save a few shekels," he has literally just demonstrated that he has not changed. He walked in to atone for being stingy and proved he's still stingy. The sacrifice doesn't just not help him, it can't atone for him at all. It's like showing up to your anger management graduation ceremony and yelling at the parking attendant on the way in. The whole point is that you've grown. If the sacrifice doesn't reflect who you are trying to become, it's not a sacrifice. It's just grocery shopping. Now, after the regular parts of the sacrifices, two very special, very unique rituals happen with the guilt offering. First, Matan Ha'adam, placing blood on the leper. The Kohen takes some blood from the sacrifice and walks toward the Metzorah. But here's the thing. The Metzorah is still not allowed inside the courtyard of the Beis HaMikdash. So, he's still standing outside, basically just sticking his head in. The Kohen puts blood on the Metzorah's right ear, then the Metzorah stretches his arm in, and the Kohen puts blood on his right thumb. Then the Metzorah sticks his right foot in, and the Kohen puts blood on his big toe. Right ear, right thumb, right big toe. Which is already a very awkward choreography for a ritual. Like the stage directions for this must have been something else. Okay, now lean forward. No, more. Now stick your foot in. Yes, right there. Hold still. Second, the Matan Shemen, placing oil on the leopard. A Kohen takes the log of oil, dips his right finger in it, and sprinkles it 7 times toward the Holy of Holies, dipping his finger each time before each sprinkle. Then he walks to the Metzorah and puts the oil in the exact same spot as the blood, ear, thumb, big toe, and whatever oil is left, whatever's still sitting in his palm, goes on the Metzorah's head. Now, the commentator, Rav Hirsch, points out that the ear, the hand, and the foot represent something profound. They symbolize hearing, action, and movement, your spiritual senses, your deeds, and your discretion in life. Everything dedicated back to Hashem. And the Tosfos Harosh adds that blood represents being redeemed from a state like death, getting a whole new life. And the oil on top represents that new life being one of the goodness and elevation. So underneath all the weirdness and logistics, there's this incredibly moving image of a person being literally anointed from head to toe back into the community renewed. Heavy stuff. Okay, we're in the home stretch, pun intended. Because now we're talking about Tzoros on, yes, houses. The Torah describes a situation where a house can break out in dark red or dark green spots on the walls, and this is treated with the same seriousness as skin tzoros. Now here's a wild fact. This phenomenon, tzoros on walls, was something that only ever happened to the Jewish people, no other nation, just us. And the rabbis explained that this was actually a miracle demonstrating Hashem's special concern for Klal Yisrael. Like, yes, your house might be covered in mysterious spiritual spots, but that's because Hashem cared enough about you to give you an early warning system. Most of the time, the tzoros would start on the house first, and only later, if you didn't get the message, move to your body. The house was the opening act, the warm-up, the, hey, just an FYI, we need to talk, before the full intervention. Why does the Torah discuss houses last if they come first in real life? Well, there's 2 reasons. Reason 1, the law of tzoros on houses were taught to the Jewish people while they were still in the wilderness. They didn't own houses yet. They were surrounded by clouds of glory in the desert. So Hashem essentially said in the desert, if you sin, it goes straight to your body. But when you settle the land, I'll give you the house first as a warning. which is honestly kind of generous. Hashem was like, I'll start with your real estate before I start with your skin. You're welcome. Reason 2. The Torah discusses tsuras on the body first, in order to scare people into not sinning. But in practice, the Almighty was merciful and let the house go first. So the scary version is written first. The merciful reality is described later. The Torah was basically written in strict mode, but executed in compassionate mode. So what's the big takeaway from Parsha Metzorah? A few things. 1. Watch your mouth. Lashon hara, gossip, slander, talking about people behind their backs. The Torah takes it so seriously that it has the entire elaborate purification process to bring back someone after they've fallen into it. 2. The sacrifices are meant to awaken tshuva. They are not just a transaction. They're not full of spiritual rebooting of who... They are not a full spiritual rebooting of who you are. And if you try to cut corners on the reboot, it doesn't work out. You have to actually mean it. 3. Hashem's discipline comes with mercy. The house before the body, the warning before the consequence, the purification before the reunion. Every step of this process, as strange as it looks from the outside, is designed to bring someone home. And 4. If you're a Kohen in ancient Israel and it's your shift at the Beis HaMikdash, on the 8th day of a Metzorah's purification, bring comfortable shoes. You're going to be doing a lot of bending. That's Parsha Metzorah, CHAISPEED TORAH style. If you enjoyed this episode, leave us a review, share it with someone who needs a little Torah in their week. And remember, next time you say something you shouldn't, just picture the Kohen, the razor, and 15 pounds of flour. Maybe keep it to yourself. Shabbat Shalom. Have a great week. And I'll see you next time, where we dive even deeper into Parsha Metzorah.